Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, the comic book poser. I'm here today to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. Can I interest you in the words of our Lord and Savior, the Burger? If not, I'm here to tell you what I'm picking up on this week's new comic book day, the 26th, I think, of May, the year of our Lord 2021. The year of our Burger Lord 2021, then you'll have to check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
If part of you is wondering what the hell's going on, I'm excited that I got my variant copy of True Cult #1 and my exclusive Kickstarter Burger Lord pop-up shop shirt in the mail the other day. Founded in 1969. Let's see what we're reading this week. Alright. So this is a pretty diverse week. First is 25th #2. This is a book that I'm a big fan of that I picked up in Kickstarter edition, that I think Frankie White has told a very interesting queer, like Fight Club Romeo and Juliet story. That this is the second issue coming out through SourcePoint Press, and it's in color. Read it. Good book. Pick up all 3 of them. Very much fun. #2 from Marvel is Alien #3. I've enjoyed seeing what has happened in terms of the return to Epsilon Station, the threat we get from the xenomorphs and beyond, and all of the people who are dealing with all kinds of shit in Epsilon Station. Good times. Also from Marvel is Beta Ray Bill. I've enjoyed the series a lot. I think Beta Ray Bill #1 was either my #2 or my top pick of the week when it came out. It's been interesting to watch Beta Ray Bill kind of ascend to his chief regard in, kind of being somebody who's a big deal in and around Asgard, or is treated as more of a big deal than he should be. Next up is Black Widow #7. This is the beginning of the second arc. I'm excited to see what happens next in this story as Natasha is kind of free from the mind control that she was dealing with in an earlier arc. She has identified the next threat she wants to deal with. I want to see what's next. Next up, we get a double dose of books from AWA. The first one on the list is Casual Fling #4. I believe this is the final book in the series. The dude who is stalking Jennifer after a one-night stand is creepy as hell. She is revealed to her husband what has happened. Everything is falling apart. I want to see how this resolves itself, and now that I say it's #4, I'm going to click on the cover and see if we see a 4/4, but I think this was only a 4-issue arc. If not, Yep, 4/4. I think Jason Starr and the team have done a good job in constructing the narrative in this. It's been very, very creepy, very, very compelling, and I want to know how it resolves itself. Alright, next from AWA's Chariot #3. I've enjoyed this Knight Rider with Balls kind of series. I like seeing the relationship that the man has with his car, and why it was potentially sunk in the ocean. That a lot of interesting things are happening in here. Next from Image, we get Department of Truth #9. Y'all know how much I've loved this series. I like each layer of the conspiracies that it continues to kind of dig through and see what happens in terms of the Department of Truth and its antithesis. This is sheer brilliance from both the artistic and the writing standpoint that I could just read this series. It could be the only thing I pick up this week, and I'm pretty damn sure I'd be happy. The other book I put on this list of picking up only one and being happy is Haha #5 from Image Comics. I think W. Maxwell Print is doing a fine job on this. I think the art in this is killer. Seeing the word casserole in the subtitle of the issue makes me wish we were getting another appearance of the casserole dish from that Texas Blood, but I'm guessing they're, different. But this anthology has been very good. Each story has been equal amounts trippy and depressing. So I want to see what Prince and Walta come up with in this story. Next up from Marvel is Heroes Reborn, Magneto and the Mutant Force #1. I have not read any other Heroes Reborn stories. I think literally the only reason I'm pulling this is because it's X-Men related and I'm behind everything else on there. But I want to read kind of what is happening in terms of the rebirth of, the X-Men story or Magneto story. Let's see if they come up with an interesting riff. Next up from Aftershock is I Breathed a Body #5. I'm pretty sure that one of the things I'm going to do this summer is a series of books called like Poser Gets Philosophical or something like that. But one of the things I want to focus on is all of Zach Thompson and all of the creators he's worked with in terms of his brand of technological horror, that I think #4 was extremely trippy in terms of coming up with a new way to create like a birthed social media presence from the fungal god. But I want to talk about everything that he has written in terms of a lens of what's Heidegger's first name? I don't know. Heidegger's critique of technology. Next, from Image is Philadelphia 13. We get the third arc beginning today. I'm very excited to see what is happening here. That the second arc was amazing. I want to see what is happening now that we get some players peeping their way back into the script. I want to see how, the conflict continues to get developed, but I think that, 1 through 12 has been some of my favorite writing from Rodney Barnes, some of my favorite art from Jason Sean Alexander. I want to see what happens next. Next up from Image is Made in Korea #1. This is another #1 from Image I'm checking out. It's an AI tale. I don't know anything else beyond it, but I picked it up because it was Image plus robots equals yes please. Next, we get a run of DC books. First up is Milestone Return to Infinite Edition #0. I don't know if there was anybody aside from the Milestone Media creative team that was more excited at the announcement of all of the Milestone characters coming back than me. So I want to see how they reintroduce all of the Milestone characters back into the fray. They have tapped some of my favorite creators in terms of developing the 4 Milestone series that will continue to march on after this, especially shout out to Vita Ayala. I think they are one of the most talented, under-celebrated creators in the industry today. Next up is Mr. Miracle, The Source of Freedom #1. I'm ready to check this out. We get a new Mr. Miracle. I think we get a new writer from this. And I know one of my favorite reads was Tom King and Mitch Sherrod's on Mr. Miracle that I got the trade for my birthday a little bit more than a year ago today. So I'm excited to see what happens with this new creator, and I don't know who any of these people are. So this new creative team to me. We'll see how it goes. Alright. Next up from Vault Comics is Money Shot. I'm super excited that this is coming out. I know that there was a push to get a third arc on social media. I don't know how to summarize what has happened in the first two, but it is the height of absurdism. We'll see how well this translates outside of living in Donald Trump's America. But I love the idea of, somebody's OnlyFans website contributing to scientific research. Next from IDW is My Little Pony Transformers. This is Volume 2, The Magic of Cybertron #2. Yes, please. New Mutants 18. I'm behind. From Aftershock is Nuclear Family #4. What Stephanie Phillips and the creative team have cooked up in this is something that is just hard to explain in terms of looking at the time-hopping thriller, like the alternate, temporal dimensions that are converging on one another, has just been absolutely fantastic. That I think Stephanie Phillips and the team from top to bottom are killing it on this, and this might be hard to unseat from my top book of the week. Next from DC is The Other History of the DC Universe number 4. This is also a series I've been very, very on top of, very much in favor of. Of the 4 or 5 characters that have been focused on in this series, Renee Montoya taking over as the Question might be the character that I'm the most familiar with. So we'll see how I feel about this one, especially since it's a play on gender and sexuality instead of exclusively race, which I feel the first 3 have focused on, so I'm very excited for this one as well. Next up from DC is Robin number 2. I missed Robin number 1. I'm still on the hunt for one, but I'm making sure I get this in my poll because everybody seemed to enjoy it. Next up from Image is Shadecraft number 3. This has been a very intriguing series to me in terms of looking at somebody playing with new powers that we're getting a bunch of different little themes that we touch on. So I have to go back and reread number 2 before I get into this one, but I'm ready to take that challenge on. From Aftershock, next is Shadow Doctor number 4. This is the biographical series on the author's grandfather. So now that we know that, a black doctor is rising to take care of Al Capone and the Mafia, I want to see what is next. Next from Vault is Shadow Service number 8. I've also been high on this series in terms of looking at, MI666, like the paranormal CIA. Yes, please. Next up from Boom Studios is Something is Killing the Children 16. You should buy multiple copies of this book. I think the spec value here is ridiculously high. If you check out my preview of this on comicbookposer.com, you'll see all the reasons why I think this title is going to be amazing. From DC, we get Strange Adventures 10. I haven't read since issue 7, but I'm going to read it all essentially when I have a trade that I think it will read better that way. Next from IDW is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin number 3. I've liked seeing the different ways that people have come together. I like seeing the tragic different fallings of members of the Turtles. I like learning about April and Casey's daughter. This to me has been an amazing series and worth every bit of hype and worth waiting through every bit of delay we've had to deal with to this point. Next up from Mad Cave is They Fell from the Sky number 4. I think y'all have heard me talk up how much I love this series. That I think both Lozelle and Jordy have done a fantastic job in creating a universe that is super compelling to get into, especially in issue number 3 when we were like, maybe the alien might not be as cute and cuddly as we may think he should be. Next, I'm excited to get 2 Transformers crossovers in a week, so we'll see if one of these gets pushed back or not, because we've dealt with that kind of unluck in the past. But I love Back to the Future, I love Transformers, I love this crossover, fun. Next up from Image is Two Moons number 4. Like I've said a couple of times, this has been an entertaining crossover of history plus paranormal, plus, it's been a while since we've seen a weird take on the Civil War, so yes, please. Next from Vault Comics is Witchblade number 3. I think what Matthew Ehrman and Lisa delivered in the first issue was fantastic. The second one's still in my catch-up pile, but I want to dive into this series a lot more. And then our last book on this list is X-Men 20, and like I've said multiple times, the pile of X is back, baby, and I'm behind. So, let's talk about our Scout books this week that I know I will get in the box if I haven't gotten it already. First up is Redshift number 1. This was released in some markets last week. It's getting released everywhere else this week. There's a preview of this book up on comicbookposer.com that I think it's an absolutely fascinating story into, somebody who's being asked to explore the rest of the universe as humanity is trying to colonize Mars. By the Horns number 2, playing catch up. Salmon is Talking Gun number 3. I really love the first 2 issues of this. This is waiting in my email for me to preview. I'm recording this video on Sunday, which means there could very well be a preview of this up on my website by the time this video releases on Tuesday. And then our final book of the week is Midnight Sky number 8. This is a series that I'm considerably far behind on. I'm guessing it's pretty fire in terms of everything else from Scout and how good it's been, that I'm going to play catch up real soon. And that's that. What do you think? Is there anything that I'm not picking up this week that you think I should grab? Put it in the chat over here. If you're watching it on the rewind, put it in the description below. As always, don't forget I'm going live on Thursday night on Whatnot for another auction. I'm also on the verge of closing down my 1,000 subscriber giveaway, which is ending on the 31st of March, or May, whatever hell month it is, I don't know. Check out the Patreon, check out everything else I got going on in the description down below. And as always, y'all, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.
Thank you for being a friend.
And from my heart, I want to give you a big Bronx yeah. Yo, big things soon to come. Keep doing your thing. Congrats.
And I want to thank you.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.